Welcome, night owls. You're tuned in to Midnight FM. Tonight's story comes from the quiet back roads of Ohio, where the woods hum with rain and bridges don't just creak under your feet. They remember who's crossed them. Our guest tonight is Grandpa Joseph, and he's here to tell us a story that locals still whisper about. A story of the night echoes came back from the hollow. This is the Hollow Bridge.
Thank you, Jacob. It was the summer of 1956 in a town called Brier Hollow. I was 18 that year, old enough to think I was fearless, dumb enough to test it. Everyone in town knew about the old bridge just past the cornfields. It stretched across a narrow ravine, maybe 20 feet deep, built back when carriages still rolled through those hills. They called it the Hollow Bridge. Some said it was named after the valley below. Others said it was because it sounded hollow when you walked across, like something was moving underneath. But what made it famous, or cursed, depending on who you asked, was the sound. If you crossed that bridge after dark, you could hear footsteps behind you. Always just one step off your own. Never closer, never farther. And if you stopped walking, the footsteps didn't. I didn't believe in that kind of talk back then. Folklore, old wives' tales, things old folks told to keep kids from wandering too far off. But my best friend Tom, he swore it was true. He said his uncle crossed it once at midnight and came back pale as chalk. Said he heard something whispering from under the planks, something that knew his name. So one Friday night, after a long day hauling hay for the millers, Tom dared me to go. He said, "Let's walk it. If it's just wind, we'll prove it." I remember laughing, grabbing a lantern from the barn. The sky was heavy with thunder, the kind that hangs low before a summer storm. The air smelled like wet dirt and lightning. And so, two fools set out toward the bridge. The road was nothing more than a muddy trail back then. Cornfields on both sides, frogs croaking somewhere off in the dark. When we reached the ridge, I could see the bridge stretching out before us. Black woods slick with rain, lantern posts long since broken, and the ravine below choked with weeds. It looked like something out of a story you'd tell just to scare a child. But what I remember most wasn't the sight of it. It was the sound. Even before we stepped on, I could hear it. A low hum, almost like a breath. Deep, slow, coming from beneath the boards.
Tom lit his lantern and handed it to me. "You go first," he said, half joking. "Sure," I told him. "I'll wave from the other side." The first step made the wood creak like an old door. The second echoed down into the hollow, a hollow that seemed deeper than it looked. Each step sounded heavier than it should have. Halfway across, I stopped. The bridge swayed gently, wind pushing through the ravine below. Tom stood at the edge, light behind him making him nothing but a shadow. "Come on, Joe," he called. "What, you scared?" Before I could answer, the echo came. One more step. Not mine. Behind me. At first, I thought it was Tom playing games. But when I turned, he was still standing on solid ground, both hands gripping the railing, the light of his lantern trembling in the wind. The echo came again, a slow, deliberate footstep right behind me, then another. My lantern swung wildly as I turned full circle. No one there, just the sound of rain beginning to fall, and something below the bridge groaning like timbers shifting under a heavy load. Tom's voice broke through the storm. "Joe, you hear that?" I did, but I didn't want to. The next step was closer, too close. I could feel it in the planks, the vibration, the faint weight pressing down somewhere just behind my heels. And then came a whisper, low, slow, right beneath the boards. "Don't stop walking." I froze there, gripping the lantern so tight I thought the handle might snap. Rain came harder, drumming against the wood, masking the sound for a moment. And then, beneath it, I heard the whisper again. "Don't stop walking." The voice wasn't loud. It was the kind that crawls under your skin, makes your knees weak and your chest tighten. "Tom!" I called. But when I turned, I could barely see him through the rain. He was just a pale shape, one hand shading his eyes from the lantern's glare. "Joe, come on!" he shouted, and I did.
Each step thudded against the soaked planks, echoing twice, once from my boots and once from whatever was behind me. Perfectly matched, half a second off. I didn't look back, couldn't. Halfway across, lightning split the sky. For one heartbeat, the entire bridge lit up in white, and I saw something move behind me. Just a shape, a blur of shadow and light, but it was enough. I ran. The bridge shook beneath my feet as I sprinted toward the other side. The boards creaked and groaned, some snapping loose behind me. Tom's voice kept calling my name, echoing off the trees. Then suddenly, his voice was gone, swallowed by the sound of the storm. All I could hear now were the footsteps, louder, heavier, matching mine. "Joe!" I heard it again, faint this time, somewhere behind me. But I couldn't tell if it was him or something else using his voice. When I finally reached solid ground, I didn't stop. I ran straight past Tom and into the tree line. We didn't say a word until we reached the Miller barn, half a mile down the road. Tom slammed the door shut and leaned against them, panting. "What the hell was that?" he gasped. "I don't know, but it was real." He looked pale, soaked to the bone. "I heard it too," he whispered. "When you stopped walking, it didn't.
We sat there for a while, listening to the rain pound the roof. Neither of us spoke again that night. But I'll tell you something. When we finally worked up the courage to go back the next morning, the bridge was different. 2 of the planks had collapsed near the middle, splintered inward, like something heavy had stepped through from underneath. And on one of the remaining boards, carved deep into the wood, were 3 words: "Don't stop walking."
Tom swore he'd never go near that place again. But a week later, he did. His little brother, Eddie, had gone missing after sunset. Last seen heading toward the creek to catch frogs. Tom ran straight for the bridge that night, calling Eddie's name into the dark. Neighbors said they heard him shouting from halfway across before lightning hit the ridge and the sound cut off. By morning, they found the bridge still there, but no Tom. Just his lantern, hanging from the railing, still burning. I was part of the search crew that day. We combed the ravine from one end to the other. Mud, water, branches, debris, nothing. Until we reached the center of the bridge. That's where we found it. A single footprint, pressed deep into the wet wood. But it wasn't from a boot. It was bare. I still remember how quiet everyone got when they saw it. The sheriff looked at me and said, "You've been here before, right?" I nodded. "Yeah," I said. "I crossed it once." He looked out toward the fog rolling through the trees. He said, "You know, it doesn't let go easy." That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard the rain on the wood, the echo of those footsteps, and that voice whispering from beneath the boards, "Don't stop walking." I left Brier Hollow the next year, joined the army, saw the world. But no matter where I went, that bridge never left me. Sometimes when the night was quiet and the world felt empty, I'd swear I could still hear it, the sound of footsteps echoing behind mine, always just one beat too late. After a while, I stopped talking about it. Folks don't take kindly to ghost stories, especially from men who wear a uniform. But some things don't fade. They wait, and the hollow bridge waited for me.
It was nearly 20 years before I saw it again. 1975. I came back to Ohio after my father passed. Most of the old town had changed by then. New roads, new faces, new rules. But when I asked about the bridge, people went quiet. One man at the diner told me it had collapsed in the late 60s. Said kids used to dare each other to cross it until one night it gave way. No one found the boy who fell. Another old-timer swore it still stood. Said the bridge rebuilt itself after storms, planks shifting back into place like it didn't want to be forgotten. I didn't believe him, not until I went out there myself. The field road was gone, swallowed by trees. But when I reached the ridge, I saw it. The hollow bridge, standing right where it always had, half rotten and sunken in mist. Every instinct told me to turn back, but something else, curiosity, guilt maybe, kept me moving. The boards creaked under my boots. Some were missing, others soft as sponge. And then I saw it, a single lantern hanging from the railing, rusted and cracked, glass fogged from inside. Tom's lantern. I touched it. The metal was cold, too cold for a summer night, and the moment my hand brushed the handle, the air changed. The forest went silent. No crickets, no wind, just the creak of the bridge shifting beneath my feet. And then the echo started. One step, then another, behind me, slow, deliberate, just like before. "Tom?" I said. The word came out small, weak. For a moment, there was nothing. Then from beneath the bridge, something answered. It wasn't a voice. Not really. It was more like a vibration, a sound that didn't reach your ears so much as your bones. Low, wet, almost like something breathing through water. It said one thing: keep walking. I took a step forward, then another. The echo matched me, but this time it was closer, not half a step behind, right at my heels. The boards trembled. A shadow moved just beneath them, like something large crawling through the gaps. The lantern flickered, and for an instant I saw it. A hand, gray, waterlogged, reaching up between the planks, fingers blackened, nails cracked. It gripped the edge and pulled. The entire bridge groaned. Boards split and twisted upward as the thing rose beneath me. I ran. Didn't think, didn't breathe, just ran. The footsteps followed, faster now, slapping against the wood, not echoing anymore, chasing. When I reached the ridge, I turned back just once. The bridge was alive, moving, boards shifting like ribs, beams bending like muscle. And for one heartbeat, I saw a face in the fog, pale, hollow-eyed. Tom. He stood at the center of the bridge, soaked and broken, lantern burning in his hand. And behind him, dozens of others, men, women, even children, all standing in the mist, all watching. Their mouths opened at once, and the voice that came out wasn't theirs. Keep walking. I ran until my legs gave out. By the time I made it back to town, dawn had broken. When I looked back, the ridge was empty. No fog, no bridge, just silence. I told no one, not for years, but every stormy night I'd wake to the sound of rain on wood and those same slow footsteps in the dark. I stayed in Brier Hollow after that night, not because I wanted to, but because I couldn't bring myself to leave again. I told myself I'd seen it wrong, that the bridge had collapsed years ago,
that ghosts don't whisper through wood or follow you home. But deep down, I knew. The hollow wasn't a place anymore. It was something else. Something that followed whoever crossed it, and it had followed me. For months I tried to live normal, but the sound, it came back. It started small, a soft creak when I walked through my house at night, then the faint echo of a step just behind mine, always one beat late, always there. I stopped sleeping. Neighbors said I looked pale. I'd go out for air and swear I could see mist curling under the streetlights, like it was waiting for me to step closer.
One night, I decided to end it. I packed my bag, took my father's lantern, and drove back to the ridge. The air was colder than it should have been. The kind of cold that doesn't touch your skin, only your bones. When I got out, I saw the fog waiting below, thick as smoke. And there it was again, the bridge, whole, untouched, like it had never aged a day. I lit the lantern and stepped onto the boards. They groaned under my weight, but didn't break. With each step, the fog grew brighter, glowing faintly white from underneath, like something alive was stirring beneath the planks. Halfway across, I stopped, and sure enough, the echoes stopped too. Then I heard the voice again, closer than ever. "Keep walking." I raised the lantern and shouted into the mist, "Tom, you hear me? I'm here!" For a long moment, nothing. Then from the far end of the bridge, a figure stepped out. It was him. Same clothes, same lantern, but his eyes were empty, black pits that seemed to stretch on forever. "Joe," he said, his voice soft, wet, broken. "You stopped walking." The boards began to shake. The air around me trembled, and then from beneath the bridge came the sound, hundreds of footsteps rising together, pounding through the wood. Each one a name, each one a memory, each one a person who had crossed before me and never left. The planks cracked open, and I saw faces beneath, pale, drowned, pressing upward like water. Their mouths opened, and all of them whispered the same thing: "Don't stop walking." The lantern flickered. The fog rushed forward like a wave, swallowing everything in white. And when it cleared, I was standing on the other side, alive. The bridge was gone. Only my father's lantern remained, still burning faintly in my hand. I never went back, but sometimes, on quiet nights, when the fog rolls in low and the rain taps the roof just right, I can still hear it. Those slow, steady footsteps, following, waiting. And sometimes, if I listen close enough, I can hear Tom's voice. "Keep walking, Joe. Just keep walking."
That was Grandpa Joseph with The Hollow Bridge. Some roads lead home, night owls. Others lead back to the places that never let you go. So if you ever find yourself crossing a lonely bridge on a foggy night, and you hear footsteps that aren't yours, don't stop. Don't look back. And whatever you do, keep walking. Until next time, this is R.J. Jacob, signing off from Midnight FM. Stay safe and stay in the light.